we're going to bring in now somebody who is actually building a metaverse. Please do welcome NEOM's Tech and Digital Holding, Mansoor Hanif. Welcome. How are you? So we've dipped our toe into the metaverse, but now we're going to dive in fully. The next session is called the Metaverse, a training camp for robots of the future. So NEOM Tech and Digital Holding are building what you call cognitive cities and cognitive solutions. First of all, you have to tell me what cognitive cities and cognitive solutions are, and then where does the metaverse fit into that?
Great, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me, and some great questions already to start with. So, why do we need cognitive cities? And I think if we're honest with ourselves, we have to admit that smart cities are simply not smart enough today. They're not really giving us what we need. And they're sucking up a lot of data, but I don't think any of us really know where is that data going and how is it being used. Is it being used for our benefit or against our benefit? And also, we're not seeing those benefits actually. I mean, most of the even the most advanced smart cities, you have to enter your data here, there, everywhere. And that's really because the systems are not talking to each other. So this is why we need cognitive cities. And cognitive really means understanding. And what we really need is cities that understand you as a person and adapt to your needs, but also that you can understand the city. What data does it need from you? How is it collecting that data? What benefits is that data giving to you, and that you can give your consent? So that's why we're building cognitive cities in NEOM. And then the second question is, how do you build cognitive cities? And the good news is you've mentioned most of the technologies that are here today. That's great news. So the technology is there. And in NEOM, we are converging those technologies, and we're powering the engine that's going to power those cognitive cities. And there's a lot of 5G. There's the cognitive compute. There's the digital layer that Joseph spoke about yesterday. There's also the operating system, NEOS. All of that is happening now. But then we realize that these are the technologies, the same technologies that will power real-time, incredibly immersive experiences, which is what the metaverse is all about. And then we thought about this, and we realized, cities of the future shouldn't be about bigger and better. We don't believe the future is megacities, where the individual feels lost. It should be about meta-cities, focused on your experience. Today it's only physical, but in the future it should be digital and physical, so mixed realities. And so we're bringing the metaverse to the city to make it real for everybody. So it's not about sitting on your couch with a VR headset making you dizzy. It's about actually living in designing a mixed reality world. So then we asked ourselves, well, how do you plan for cognitive cities? How do you plan for mixed reality cities? How do you ideate? How do you plan? How do you provision those digital experiences in the real world? And then how do you monetize them? Obviously, we need a business model. And we realized there is no platform that does that today. So, of course, the only conclusion is that we have to build one. Now, of course, we're not presumptuous enough to say we're going to build it on our own. So we've started speaking to the best partners around the world already. And we've named this, the code name is Xverse. And the first pilots will be run in Q2 of next year in NEOM.
So there's many companies talking about metaverses, Facebook, Epic Games, Atari, in fact. How is the NEOM metaverse going to be different from that?
Well, those are some big names. So let me start by saying that most metaverses today are either replicating existing cities, so copying real worlds, or building on existing user bases, such as Facebook is doing, or they're designing completely imaginary cities in the gaming world. But what we are doing is we are actually very privileged to be in NEOM, where you've heard about the line, for example. That's the first that we've announced. But everything in NEOM is being designed around an incredibly iconic architecture of cities. So it's already a kind of an incredible universe that you want to start to live in before it's even built. So we have that iconic architecture, and what we can do in NEOM is actually imagine the city. We can then live in the city immersively through the metaverse while we build it, and then take all of the digital content and assets and overlay over the physical assets when they're built. So having a real mixed reality city. There is no other metaverse that can do that because it's quite unique. And then just going back to what I said earlier, I mean, it's all about the cognitive technology that can power real-time digital twins What that means is that in the real world, when something happens, in the digital world, that's immediately replicated all around the world. That's not easy to do. So it's a huge technical challenge, but we have the cognitive tech to do that. Plus, on the business side, all of that is built on a digital asset platform. So every single transaction, whether it's NFTs or any other type of digital movement, will be monetized. So there's a great business model underneath it. And at the same time, we are creating these digital human transitions that are totally unique because we have the physical and the mixed world. We call this physical breakout, which means that you can actually, from anywhere in the world, transmit yourself, teleport to NEOM, and interact with people either as an AR avatar, as a hologram, or as a robot, which is why, also because of the fact that we're building an autonomous city, we are investing heavily in robotics, and we're the only metaverse to integrate robotics into the metaverse.
So that's really interesting. What's the link between the metaverse and robotics?
Yeah, great question. So actually, we have a big ambition around robotics per se, and we want to drive the future of human-machine interaction and completely change it. And we expect to have over 10% of the population in NEOM by 2030 to be humanoid robots, living freely with the humanoid humans. And that's not easy to do, and it's quite dangerous today. So there's a lot of work to be done on technology to make it so that 10,000 robots can freely interact with human beings. For example, here today, it's not possible today. So when we started working with the robotics companies, we understood how they work today and how the future of robotics is going to be absolutely through the metaverse. So first you start with the robotic brain, which is software, and a software body. So they're using kind of gaming systems today, but they're moving now towards the metaverses. So you train the software brain with a software body before you take the same software brain and put it in a hardware body. The brain is the same. So the hardware brain of the future is what we'll build in the cognitive city, the compute platform. But these software brains need to be trained to, first of all, interact with objects. And this is where the metaverse comes in. But it needs to be a physical metaverse. It needs to be a metaverse that mimics the physical world with laws of physics. For example, gravity. So when a robot, picks up a ball, throws it in the air, when it goes to the real world with a real body, it needs to react the same way. Otherwise, there's no use in training it in something that's not there. So it's the physics engine in the metaverse that's really critical. And that's really interesting in terms of space exploration, for example, where we know that robots will play a huge role. You can have, for example, a gravity switch, where you can simply on the metaverse have gravity set to Earth. Then you can train the robot for the moon and change the gravity, and then for Mars and change it again. So there's incredible possibilities there. So the other key thing is interaction with humans. And that is absolutely critical, because today it's not safe to release robots with humans. And so initially people were using simulated humans in gaming systems to train the robots. So that's the first step. But now in the metaverse, because of these human avatars that are interacting with them, they're real humans as avatars. So that's already the second training step before you finally release them to be free with real humans.
Wow, I think I could go on about this all day. So you spoke about the Xverse. I can see how it can interest people who enjoy immersive gaming. I would like to teleport to NEOM, have a good time. But on a broader perspective, I might be happy with my life as it is. I might not think I need the metaverse. So if I'm a user of this metaverse in 5 or 10 years, how is my life going to be better?
Yeah, Greg, and I certainly hope you are happy. I wish everybody to be happy. That's part of the goal in life. But I think if we're all honest, happy is one thing, but are you satisfied with your life? I mean, how much time do you spend each day on useless crap or rubbish or things you don't need to do? What would you say?
Well, there's a lot of time. There's a lot of time spent doing things that I would rather not be doing, that's for sure.
Exactly, and that's the whole thing. So we can have better lives. And really what we want to drive the metaverse to do, we're driving the metaverse through what we call digital humanism, with the human at the center. And what we want the metaverse to do is not eat up your digital life. We want it to give you more time, more space, and more safety to be human. And we also want the metaverse to better use resources to drive sustainability in the cities. And we think that it's going to be a lot of fun to create new experiences. And these new experiences are a journey of discovery for us as individuals and humans. So it's through experiences that we learn who we are, which is really one of the main goals in life, I think, for all of us, to know who we are before we know what we want to achieve. But also it can be make the world more inclusive and fair, because in the metaverse you can have whatever persona you want, and that will really break down barriers. And also, I think I think
As long as you have enough currency tokens to pay for how you look, how you appear.
Absolutely, but you can use your creativity and your imagination, which are the fundamental aspects of being human, to make money from NFTs and art and whatever you want to do. So you're your own master. The people around the world will be empowered by this. Plus, the fact is we're all suffering from carbon anxiety. Why? Because we don't know, every time we pick up a bottle, every time we have something to eat, or we take a taxi, we think we're destroying the world. So, because we don't have visibility of what is the impact of our actions, and we don't have agency. So in the metaverse, we'll be able to give you visibility of your footprint, of your shadow, and then you make the decision about every action you take and the impact it has on the world and on the economy. And that way, you should make better decisions for the world and yourself, but you should also lower your level of anxiety. So basically, in essence, the metaverse should make humans feel more human and less of the machines we sometimes feel we are today.
Wow, and sir, thank you so much for spending time with me. You don't have to convince me. I'm already a fan of the metaverse. I read Neil Stephenson, huge fan of Ready Player One as well. So I really appreciate your time, and I'm ready to test out the metaverse whenever.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. Please thank very much from.
Thank you.
So that was Mansour Hanif speaking from NEOM.